Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me.
As humanity spread out across the galaxy, one thing remained constant: the desire for freedom and self-determination. From Earth's humble beginnings to the far reaches of the galaxy, colonies of humans dotted planets, moons, and asteroids, each one striving to forge its own path while remaining part of the grand experiment known as the Interstellar United States, IUS. But, as diversity in culture, politics, and biology took root on new worlds, the challenge of finding a leader to represent everyone grew more complicated. Now, in this pivotal election, the future of the IUS was at stake. The election had attracted the attention of the entire galaxy. Broadcasts of the candidates' rallies, debates, and campaign stops streamed on every screen from the core planets of the IUS to the most distant outposts. On Earth, the cradle of human civilization, Amelia Royce, a tall, statuesque woman with a confident air and warm smile, stood in front of a packed crowd. Her message was simple: unity. "We are one people," she declared, her voice amplified by speakers and carried through the crowd. "Human or alien, Earthborn or not, our shared destiny is intertwined. If we are to thrive, we must embrace our diversity and come together." Cheers erupted from her supporters, a sea of placards and digital banners waving in the air. Amelia's charisma was undeniable, and her progressive platform had gained traction among those who still believed in the ideals of a united galaxy. But not everyone was swayed by her vision. In the Outer Rim worlds, far from the influence of Earth and its allies, a different message was resonating. Draxus Thorn, a politician from Calyx, one of the most influential alien planets, stood in a dimly lit hall before a group of alien dignitaries. His skin shimmered with a silver hue, reflecting the low light as his deep-set eyes scanned the room. Draxus was an imposing figure, both physically and politically. His campaign platform promised independence for the outer planets, freedom from what he called the Earth-centric dominance of the IUS. "We have been treated like second-class citizens for too long," Draxus said, his voice deep and resonant. "The time has come for the outer worlds to take control of their own destiny. We will no longer be pawns in Earth's political games." Nods of agreement rippled through the crowd. Many of the outer worlds, especially those dominated by non-human species, had long felt marginalized by the policies of the central IUS government. Draxus' promise of independence struck a chord with those who had grown weary of Earth's influence. Meanwhile, on Mars, a colony known for its technological prowess and economic might, Jasper Wu was addressing a group of corporate leaders. Shorter than his competitors and with a more pragmatic demeanor, Jasper had built his campaign on promises of technological advancement and economic growth. He appealed to the industrialists, the engineers, and those who believed that the future of the IUS lay in innovation rather than diplomacy. "Look around you," Jasper said, gesturing to the towering factories and research facilities that dominated the Martian landscape. "This is the future. We are the engine that drives the IUS forward. With the right leadership, we can take our technological capabilities to new heights and ensure our place as the most powerful force in the galaxy." His words were met with applause from the assembled corporate elites, who saw in Jasper the opportunity to expand their influence even further. For them, the future was a competition, and Mars had always been ahead of the curve. The three candidates represented vastly different visions for the future of the IUS, and the campaign had become a battle for the soul of the galaxy. Each candidate had their strengths, but each also faced challenges that would test their ability to lead such a diverse and sprawling entity. The first debate, held in a neutral zone aboard the massive space station Aurora's Hope, was a highly anticipated event. The station itself floated in the void of space, a glittering beacon of diplomacy that housed representatives from every corner of the galaxy. Its halls were filled with a mix of human and alien species, each one eagerly awaiting the spectacle of the debate. Amelia, Draxus, and Jasper stood on a raised platform before a holographic audience that spanned the galaxy. As the debate began, the candidates quickly laid out their platforms. "I believe in unity," Amelia said, her voice calm but firm. "We are stronger together than apart. The IUS is not just a collection of planets, it is a shared dream of a future where all beings, human and alien alike, can prosper. My administration will focus on strengthening the bonds between our worlds and ensuring that no one is left behind." Draxus was quick to counter. "Unity is a noble goal, but it cannot come at the cost of freedom. The outer worlds have long been treated as pawns in Earth's game of galactic dominance. My people are tired of being told what to do by a distant government that doesn't understand their needs. I will fight for the independence of the outer worlds, so that they can determine their own futures." Jasper, ever the technocrat, took a more measured approach. "Both unity and independence have their merits, but the real key to our future lies in innovation. The IUS must embrace the cutting-edge technologies that will allow us to thrive in this galaxy. My administration will focus on advancing our scientific capabilities, improving our infrastructure, and ensuring that we remain the most powerful economic force in the galaxy." The debate raged on for hours, with each candidate scoring points with their respective supporters. But as the debate concluded, it was clear that the election would not be decided by rhetoric alone. Each candidate would need to secure the trust of key factions across the galaxy, and that would require more than just words. Amelia knew that to win, she would need to form alliances with the smaller, independent worlds that had been neglected by the central government. These worlds were home to a mix of human and alien populations, each one with its own unique culture and challenges. She began traveling to these distant planets, meeting with local leaders and listening to their concerns. On the planet Ithera, a lush world known for its vibrant ecosystems and diverse alien species, Amelia met with the leader of the Federation of Free Planets, a coalition of independent worlds that had long resisted central authority. The leader, a tall, slender alien named Xylo, was skeptical of Amelia's promises of unity. "We have heard these promises before," Xylo said, his voice a series of clicks and hisses that Amelia's translator converted into human language. "Unity always comes at a price. What can you offer us that others have not?" Amelia smiled, her eyes meeting Xylo's. "I offer you a seat at the table. The IUS is changing, and we need voices like yours to guide that change. I'm not here to dictate terms, I'm here to listen and to ensure that your people have a say in their own future." Xylo considered her words carefully, and after a tense moment, he nodded. "Very well, Amelia Royce. We will support your campaign, but know this, if you break your promises, we will not hesitate to leave the IUS." As Amelia secured the support of the Federation of Free Planets, Draxus was busy consolidating his power in the Outer Rim. He had formed an alliance with the Xel'Naga, a powerful alien race known for their control of a critical trade route. This alliance gave Draxus a significant advantage, but it also raised suspicions among human voters, who feared that Draxus was more interested in serving alien interests than in protecting humanity. Meanwhile, Jasper's campaign was struggling. His focus on technological advancement had won him the support of Mars and other industrial planets, but he was seen as too cold and detached by many voters. In a bid to turn the tide, Jasper made a bold move. He struck a deal with the Technocrat Consortium, a powerful corporate entity that controlled the AI systems used throughout the galaxy. With their help, Jasper gained access to advanced data analytics, allowing him to micro-target voters with unprecedented precision. Jasper's new strategy, while effective in boosting his polling numbers, came at a cost. As more information surfaced about his reliance on the technocrat consortium, whispers of corruption began to spread. People started to wonder whether Jasper had sold out to corporate interests. On the outer worlds, where mistrust of centralized authority ran deep, his campaign suffered a sharp decline. Though Jasper still held strong support among industrialized planets, his base was no longer expanding. In contrast, Amelia's message of unity was starting to resonate with more voters. The endorsement from the Federation of Free Planets had given her a critical boost, particularly in the neutral territories. Her campaign trail became a spectacle of energy and hope, with each rally filled with diverse supporters, humans and aliens alike, chanting her name. Still, the road to victory was far from clear. She had to counter Draxus's growing influence in the Outer Rim, where his calls for independence were turning planets against the idea of a unified galaxy. Draxus, ever the cunning strategist, had anticipated the growing resistance to his alien alliances among human voters. He pivoted his message subtly, emphasizing the need for strong leadership to protect the IUS from external threats. It was a message designed to stoke fear, and it worked. His campaign gained momentum on worlds vulnerable to pirate raids and lawlessness, where safety and stability trumped abstract ideals like unity. Tensions continued to escalate as election day neared. Reports of violence broke out on several planets, as opposing supporters clashed in the streets. On Earth, the heart of the IUS, security forces were deployed in major cities to prevent riots. In the Outer Rim, Draxus's rallies were often interrupted by protests from human groups who viewed him as a traitor. Meanwhile, Jasper's events had grown eerily controlled, his followers moved in sync, their every action seemingly coordinated by the AI systems guiding his campaign. Then came the attack that IT started on Dorson V, a neutral planet known for its role in interstellar diplomacy. A massive explosion rocked the capital city, killing hundreds and sending shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The culprit was unknown, but conspiracy theories flooded the galactic networks. Some blamed alien separatists, others pointed to rogue human factions unhappy with the current election process. The candidates were forced to respond. Amelia was the first to speak publicly. Standing before a holographic display of the destruction on Dorson V, she made an impassioned plea for peace. "This violence only serves to divide us," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "We must not let fear and hatred tear apart the fabric of our galaxy. The people of Dorson V deserve justice, but they also deserve our commitment to unity and peace." Her words struck a chord with many, but there were those who felt they were not enough. Draxus, always quick to exploit a crisis, took a different approach. He framed the attack as evidence that the IUS was failing to protect its citizens, particularly in the Outer Rim. "This is exactly why we need independence," he thundered in a speech broadcast across the galaxy. "We cannot rely on a distant government to protect us. The outer worlds must stand on their own, free to defend themselves without interference from Earth." Jasper, true to form, proposed a technological solution. He called for an immediate deployment of AI security systems across all planets in the IUS to prevent future attacks. The tragedy on Dorson V could have been avoided with the proper safeguards in place, he said in a cold, matter-of-fact tone. "My administration will ensure that every planet has access to the technology necessary to prevent such acts of terror." But as the investigation into the attack continued, an unsettling truth emerged. It wasn't a separatist group or rogue faction behind the explosion, it was an inside job. A faction within the IUS government had orchestrated the attack to influence the election, hoping to manipulate public fear into a tighter, more authoritarian grip on power. The revelation sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, shaking the foundations of the election itself. The candidates found themselves in an unexpected alliance. Amelia, Draxus, and Jasper joined forces temporarily to expose the conspiracy. It was an uneasy truce, but necessary. Together, they revealed the faction's plans to the galaxy, exposing the culprits and ensuring they were brought to justice. The exposure of the conspiracy brought a moment of collective relief to the galaxy, but it didn't ease the political tension. If anything, it made the stakes of the election even higher. With the shadow of corruption looming over the central government, the candidates returned to their campaigns with renewed urgency. The final days before Election Day were a whirlwind of rallies, speeches, and last-minute attempts to sway undecided voters. Draxus leaned into his message of strength and independence, emphasizing that only he could protect the outer worlds from the central government's overreach. Amelia continued to champion unity, urging voters not to give in to fear or division. Jasper, while bruised by the AI scandal, pressed forward with his vision of a technologically driven future, trying to salvage what was left of his support base. Election Day arrived, and the galaxy held its breath. The votes were cast, and as the results began to trickle in, it became clear that this would be the closest election in the history of the IUS. Draxus won handily in the Outer Rim, securing the vote of most alien planets and human colonies that favored independence. Amelia dominated the inner planets, with Earth and its allies turning out in overwhelming numbers to support her. Jasper, despite the controversy surrounding his campaign, managed to secure a significant portion of the industrial and technologically advanced planets, but neither Draxus nor Amelia had secured enough votes to win outright. The deciding factor would come down to the neutral planets, the same planets that had been swayed by Amelia's promises of inclusion and representation. On these worlds, the population was deeply divided. Many still remembered Amelia's diplomacy and her ability to bring people together, but others feared that unity would come at the cost of their autonomy. The final vote came in from Zerones, the largest of the neutral planets. It was the tipping point, and the moment every citizen in the galaxy had been waiting for. Amelia's heart raced as the numbers flashed across the screen. Amelia Royce had won. But by the slimmest of margins, the announcement sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Some celebrated, seeing her victory as a triumph for unity and diplomacy. Others were less enthusiastic, fearing that Amelia's presidency would mark the beginning of Earth's dominance over the galaxy. Draxus accepted his defeat with cold detachment, though he vowed to continue fighting for the independence of the outer worlds. Jasper, ever the pragmatist, congratulated Amelia and offered his assistance in shaping the technological future of the IUS, but Amelia knew her work was just beginning. The election had been won, but the galaxy remained fractured. The people were divided, and the scars of the campaign, especially the attack on Dorson V, had left deep wounds. As she stood before a holographic projection of the galaxy, the weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders. She had promised to unite the IUS, to represent not just Earth but every planet, every species, every culture in the galaxy. It was a monumental task, and one that would take years, if not decades, to accomplish. In her inaugural speech, Amelia spoke directly to the people of the galaxy, her voice resolute but humble. "We are not just a collection of planets," she said. "We are a collective dream of what the future can be. A future where our differences make us stronger, where our diversity is our greatest asset. I do not promise an easy road ahead, but I promise that I will fight every day to ensure that the interstellar United States remains a beacon of hope for all." The galaxy listened, and for a moment, there was a fragile peace. Whether that peace would last, only time would tell. But for now, Amelia Royce was the leader of the interstellar United States, and the galaxy watched as she began the monumental task of bringing it together.